This week I was lucky enough to shadow a CEO making 75 times what I'm making, and I learned a ton. And in this episode, I'm excited to share with you some of the lessons. You ready to roll? What a week it's been. Monday, it started off with 2 episodes of 100 Ways to Make 100K. The first one was with John Colley. He runs a company called Rescue 7. You can find them at rescue7.net. Secondly, we interviewed Dmytro Grechko from a company called Deskry. He originally immigrated here from Ukraine and has a crazy story. Pretty much now he's building all this software. He started originally in the agency space and now is taking over. It's crazy. Raised a bunch of money, did a couple rounds, and in this story he tells about how he raised I think 600K in 2 conversations or something along those lines. Man, it was wild. And John, the first guy, he's got like 35,000 defibrillators across Canada. He's been in business like 20 years. It was a really, really cool story. Now that was just on Monday. On Tuesday, we did a little bit of sales day. I bought a camera, new FX7. Haven't used it yet, but I will. And also bought a new lens, 70 to 200. I think this is the 2nd gen version, so excited to give this one a try. I do have the first gen, but we needed another lens. So Wednesday was CEO day, and this is where most of the magic happened. I honestly think this is going to be one of the highlights of my year, but in this episode, I'm going to break down what happened. I'll just finish recapping the week, and then I'll get into it. If you look along the bottom of the YouTube video, I'm sure you can skip ahead if that's what you came for. Thursday was an interview with someone by the name of Rob Onley. He's the founder of a business called Notary Pro. They're doing maybe 30 times what I've done in a year, and yeah, pretty cool story about how he's used SEO to grow his business pretty much Canada-wide. And now they're the #1 online notary in the country. And got some plans on going international pretty soon. But you're going to have to stay tuned for his episode and follow along with his business to learn a little bit more. Let's see what happened on Friday. Friday, John Colley, remember the guy from Monday? He had something called a winter carnival. So every year he rents out, for the last 8-9 years he's done it. He's rented out a private ski resort and had all of his friends, colleagues, employees, and enemies at this event. So I ended up going, met the CEO of their marketing agency, and he liked me. I think he's pretty cool as well. So we're going to end up carving out some time for lunch in the coming weeks. So stay tuned. Let's see what that turns into. But on Saturday, Eli popped by and we were working on the business, not in the business. Now he runs a photography company and has a studio across the street from this new place that I moved into downtown. We've been friends for years though. And so now that we're pretty much local, we get to hang out a little bit more. Eli, you could say what up.
Just studying.
Hold on, I think this is on manual.
Oh.
My shit's all fucked up. Yeah. All right, say what up.
Yo, what's up? What's going on? It's your boy Eli in the cut, bro. We just here editing and researching a lot.
And then on Sunday, I'm doing this kind of like initiative called 52 Coffees, 1 coffee a week for 52 weeks with a new friend. This was the first person that reached out to me to do it. And we ended up hitting it off in a conversation show. She popped by, we made some tea from scratch and chopped it up about how we could grow our businesses. And it was a pretty fun conversation. So she could say what's up real quick.
Okay, I'm Christina, and I run a marketing agency. We help startups and founders figure out their marketing problems from like start to finish.
So now for what you guys are really waiting for, Wednesday. It was the magic day, and I learned a lot. And I want to give a huge shout out to Mike Landry from a company called The Influence Agency. If you're an influencer, they could probably hook you up with some deals. I mean, look, they've got great SEO, so you can just look them up, and I'm sure you'll find them. So I'm going to unlock my phone here, and we're going to go through the notes together because this was honestly way too much for me to, freestyle off the top of my head. But during the day, it was important that I took notes, and I didn't really want to interrupt him. So I pretty much just took notes of observations, questions, and things that I was curious about, and then shared it with him at the end of the day in kind of like a rapid fire format. So let us go to CEO day right now. Give me 1 second. You know what's interesting? You might be wondering, how did you even meet this guy? And it was through a cold DM. So we messaged him on LinkedIn and had him on the podcast. And then we made a bet, and he lost that bet. And the bet was dinner, which we didn't end up doing, not yet anyways. And I get to be CEO for a day if I win. If he won, it's going to give him a free employee engagement video and take him to dinner, but he lost. So looks like I got to hang out and be CEO for a day. And honestly, I think the experience of shadowing someone that's way senior than you and way farther than you in whatever realm you want to be in is more valuable than any dinner, right? Even if that dinner is $500, which it is going to be. So, all right. So here's how I break this down. Now, if you're shadowing someone or you ever reach out to someone for mentorship and they grace you with their, with their presence for the day, here's how I structured mine. I think it might be useful if you structure yours this way. But here's how I structured mine. So first, it was observations. So I just noted down the things that I noticed that I thought were remarkable. I also documented kind of just like a timeline of what happened throughout the day. And then I saved my questions. So I'm going to share as much as I can without giving up any confidentiality or exposing anything that might be private and sensitive business information, just out of respect. Shout out my guy, Mike. Honestly, very grateful for the day. And I can't express to you in words how much it meant to me. So this is, honestly, I'm making this video as homage, as a way to say thank you. And I'm trying to commit to the successful actions, and uploading a video a week is one of those. Anyways, so let's start with the observations. First things first, right out the gate, everyone's smiling, everyone's happy. Now, I've been to a lot of offices before where everyone's miserable, so this was really just refreshing to experience because you think everybody's going to hate work, right? Now, his goal, like personally, his objective is a zero inbox. So me personally, I have like 17,000 emails. Well, I did, but now they're at zero, all thanks to Mike. So he's got emails that come in and he just actions them right away, right? It's the first thing that he does. It's the last thing that he does. He's always trying to strive for inbox zero. I mean, look, when you have like 50 employees, like everybody's asking you things, and the faster that you could get them responded to, the faster other people can take action. So in my operation, I'm often the bottleneck. Like this video, I was supposed to film it days ago and I'm filming it now. I mean, you're probably not even watching this. There's probably like 3 people that are going to watch this, but it doesn't even matter. I should have done this. I promised myself I would, and it's taking me longer than it's supposed to. And if it was an inbox item, like an email, I did take too long to tackle those. And, my results showed for it. He tackles things right away. He doesn't procrastinate. He literally just jumps on it immediately. So there was he's also very direct and straight to the point. So there was a service provider that they had and they billed them incorrectly. He jumped on the phone and literally got straight to it. No small talk, no how's the weather, no how's your day going. Just, hey, this is the problem with my account, fix it. And when he gives instructions, it's like, hey, do this, and if this works, do this. If this doesn't work, then do that. Okay, sound good? Take care. So he'll not just tell you what to do, but he tells you what to do, and if it's right, do this, and if it's wrong, do that, right? If this, then that. It's very important, especially so that people don't keep coming back to you over and over and over again to ask for confirmation. I found his ability to switch between tasks very impressive. Now, if you were to follow me for a day, you might think my stuff's very impressive just because I go from one task to another, but there's so much context built in that I don't even know about. So just watching that for the first time was like this guy's going from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, like deal, update, problem. And there's so many things going on. It was literally like whack-a-mole, and like which one can he hit faster? So that was pretty cool. And that was pretty much it. Now there was a strategy call that I got to sit in on, and I got to see a little bit more about how they price things, how they structure things, how they operate the pitch. Not necessarily how they got the client to the meeting, but pretty much how a client's been ascended over the lifetime of a client, which was really cool. So ideally what happened throughout the day, that's it for the observation section. Next, we'll go into what happened. So what happened throughout the day, we started with coffee, went through his emails, his biweekly payroll is like my annual income, which is insane. So they solved the problem with the service provider. They showed me a bunch of job applications in queue and broke down. I gave them instructions in the job application, and because they're applying here, they didn't listen. So we'll probably have one interview a little bit later with one person out of 20 that have actually listened to what's in the job description. So I got to sit in on the job interview, which is cool. We cleared the inbox. We had a call with a partner on a deal. We had some actual like technical work for a client that he promised that he would do. He had a sales meeting. He had an internal team meeting, and then him and I had the debrief. So you might be wondering what questions came up and what were some of his answers. So I'll run you through a rapid fire list of all the questions, and then we'll dive into each of them. So the first one was, when you incur expenses for a client, are you billing them or are you charging them at cost? Are you eating that expense? Are they eating that expense? Tell me a little bit more. Now, someone else asked, hey, do we only put agency fees on the board or... And I was like, well, what other fees are there? Okay. Then I saw him check his RBC, capital markets account. And I was curious, like, what's your relationship between paying yourself and saving in the company account and investing company funds? And how's that whole financial machine work after collecting from an invoice, which is pretty cool. Now, he mentioned he had a girl experimenting with cold email. So I asked, what's your process and relationship with experiments? How do you choose? How do you choose which experiments? How do you choose who's responsible for the experiments? How do you monitor it? And how do you adapt? How do you adopt? So like if this experiment is successful, how do you go about using it? Now I asked, what's the life cycle of a client? How does the agreement between them work? Do they get paid each time? Is it a retainer? How's that working? Now, if you're charging them X amount of dollars, how much value are you really bringing them? I also asked him what he wished employees did more of, because he told me this, and I'll tell you why after. But I asked, where are most of their deals coming from these days? They do like SEO and stuff. So I asked, how do you know what your client should rank for? And how do you find out what customers are searching? He mentioned something about me not knowing the value of the videos that I get to create for companies. So I asked, how would you go about me learning the value that I provide, and where should I go from here regarding a video perspective? I asked, from your perspective, giving all the information that you have, what opportunities do you think I might be overlooking? I asked him how he would package my show, 100 Ways to Make 100K, for sponsorships and partnerships. And then he told me a couple things that he learned along the way. So, you ready to dive in? So let's go back to that first one. So the first question was about incurring expenses. And he says, sometimes we eat it, sometimes it's outlined in the beginning, but really we're a premium service. So if you're a premium service, you're going to get pissed off if people are nickel and diming you. It's almost like when you go to McDonald's and you pay with your card in window 1, and at window 2, the girl's trying to charge you for sauce. Bro, it's not your sauce, bro. Just give me the sauce. Right? You come here all the time. I'm collecting points on the app. How are you going to tell me you're going to charge me 25 cents for sauce when I used my freaking bank card? Okay? So part of being a premium service isn't nickeling and diming people. Now, one of the team members asked, do we only put... So that was one question. Next question. Next team member asked, hey, are we only putting agency fees on the board? So I was curious, what other fees were there and why are they putting stuff on the board to begin with? And I found his answer remarkable, and more so the reasoning. Now he said, yeah, that's part of like an incentive program that we have going on right now for the next 6 months. If we can get X number in agency fees, X number in recurring deals, then the whole company is going to Dominican Republic. Right? Which I think is super cool. So I asked about incentives and what that means and how it impacts people. And obviously people get motivated. And he told me about a different one that he had where he wanted to get everybody lunch on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every day for life. Which I think is a really cool incentive. If you're promising me lunch 3 days out of the week, I'm selling my ass off. Okay? Enough said. So I thought it was pretty cool, especially because I don't have incentives for any of my team members. So I asked about the relationship on how he treats his... next question. I asked about the relationship on how he's treating the income. And he said, I don't really like to invest company money because let's say you invest in a stock and all of a sudden it goes down 50 grand. Then if you need that money for payroll or if anything pops up or an opportunity that you want to take advantage of, the only way you're going to be able to get that money back is if you sell it at a loss. And I don't want to sell company money at a loss. So I'll just hold it in the savings account. But the reason that you saw me open that up was because I paid something from the wrong account, which I thought was cool. He also pays himself a salary. Dividends could get dangerous, especially if you don't put enough aside for taxes. So I like that, that method and keeping it simple. But that was pretty much it for that question. Now, the next thing, he said he had a girl that's experimenting. So I asked, how are you doing all these experiments? And he said, look, most experiments work and I try them first and then I dish them off to a team member. And yeah, it's most of them that work. So I thought that was cool. And it's kind of like encouragement to free up your time so that you could do more experiments in your own business, which I think I'm trying to get to right now, which is very exciting. So we went, oh wait, hold on. Before I get too far lost. Yes. So I asked, what's the life cycle of a client? Of a very specific client. I'm not going to disclose their name because it's not my business and it's not your business. So mind your business. So I asked, what's the life cycle of a client, of a specific client? And he said, originally they came in for one thing, but we didn't end up getting the contract, but they really liked me and we kept the relationship. So a couple months later, they came back for this complete other thing. We knocked that other thing out of the park. So then we added the thing that we originally did. And now 6 months later or a year later, they asked us to come up with this new solution as if we had no budget. So we did. And now we're pitching it. And I think they landed more business from that one client over the next year than I've made from all my clients in 1 year. So I think that was pretty cool, especially because what it started as isn't what it's finishing as. And quite frankly, I don't even think it's going to finish there. So, kudos to you, Mike, and kudos to your client because they're probably going to get a ton of results. All right. Next question was during lunch. So we're chatting, shout out my guy, Mike, for hooking up the lunch. And he goes, and he just said something about I can't remember what it was, but I asked him, what do you wish employees did more of? He was telling me a story about bringing the employees to Mexico. He brought all the team to Mexico and 3 of them said thank you. And it's like, bro, I'm so grateful for lunch right now. I'm so grateful to even be here right now. You're talking about you bring me to Mexico on an all-inclusive trip? Bro, what? You know how grateful I'd be? Oh my goodness. Mexico? Bro, que lo que, But anyways, so I asked him, what do you wish employees did more of? And he thought it was a good question. But he ended up saying, I wish they took more advantage of the education programs that we have. I wish they invested in themselves more. There was one employee that made a mistake, and then a year later, he asked them, what did you do about this mistake? And they said, I didn't do anything. And it's like, bro, you have people that are willing to invest in your training and you're not going to take advantage of it. So one of the things that he wished that employees did more of was take advantage of their education matching program where they're going to pay for you to invest in yourself to get better at the skills that you guys offer for clients. And I thought that was cool. So I asked, where are you getting most of your deals from these days? And he said inbound SEO. Now he asked me where I get mine from, and I'm getting most of mine from referral and organic video because I make videos. And he goes, kudos to you because it's not often that companies drink their own champagne. So it's really cool that he sells SEO and gets clients from SEO. It's almost like getting personal training advice from an overweight personal trainer. You want the person who you're buying the thing from to inherently be good at the thing. So kudos to them for being good at the thing, getting results from the thing, and doing that thing for clients. I think that was really cool. So I asked them how do you know what people should rank for? How do you find what they're searching? I mean, that was a stupid question. You could Google that and find the answers. But he said it's just logic. There's tools out there that you could find on the internet, and it's just logic. If you were a customer, what would you be buying? Or what would you be searching when you want to buy? So he said, man, you're different, but you don't even know the values that you provide. And I thought that was a profound statement, especially because I don't know the value. Especially when I started, I started videos not even understanding what the price of these things were. And honestly, quite frankly, I still don't understand what the price of these things are, but I just keep getting better and better and better and still charging more and more and more. And I asked him, how would you go about learning what the value is? And he says, just throw out a higher number. He told me the story about someone who was in a similar business than him. And he goes, oh, you're still charging this much? He's like, and so Mike asked his mentor, how much should I charge? He said, just throw out higher numbers and you'll be surprised what people accept. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then I asked him how would I go about growing the things that I'm doing. He said I should have a blog on my website that talks about certain elements. I'm not going to dive in. You guys are going to have to wait and see for that one. But thanks a lot, Mike. Really appreciate it. And I told him I'm trying to solve a bottleneck, and he gave me some thoughts on how we could go about it. Now, the bottleneck was pretty much the balance between client work, the podcast, finding space and money for the podcast. But you're just going to have to watch and see. I'm not going to give you guys those tips just yet because I'm still separating myself from the competition. And quite frankly, I went out of my way to learn and shadow. Like, if you want to get that information, go shadow someone yourself. So, what else? I mean, he told me what he would do if he was my business partner. Again, I'm not telling you that. Sorry. And he gave me a whole new business idea and pressure tested an idea that I've kind of been sitting on and thinking about doing. So regardless, this was hands down one of the more valuable days of the year. I know we're only a month in, but this was one of the most valuable days that I've had in recent history. And I'm eternally grateful for spending the day with Mike. Thank you so much. This day has changed my life and will probably have ripple effects, and your legacy will live much farther than that one day, because there's going to be so many people. I don't know how many people are going to watch this video. Probably 4 or 5 people. It's probably going to be my mom and my little brother, that's watching this. But I think there's going to be a lot of lessons that I end up implementing, and a lot of people that are going to hear stories about some of the things that you taught me. So thank you so much for spending the day with me. And yeah, I know it probably feels like you did nothing because you just did like your regular day, but that alone was more than I could have learned in all of university. You can't Google these things. These are only things you could see behind the scenes if you're really there. So Mike, thank you so much. And I'm excited to watch the next chapter of your life, your business unfold. And I'm grateful to call you a new friend. And for those that are wondering how I even met Mike, it was a cold DM on LinkedIn. So anyways, that's that. I got this new camera and this new lens that I really want to play around with. So I'm going to do that. Coming up this week, we meet with Mithrin. Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you. But we went to this $20 million house for some guy raising money for a casino. And there was like 36 cars and like an indoor pool and a tennis court and 2 gyms and a squash court and a basketball court. Bro, it was wild. But I mean, like, maybe I'll save that one for another day. We got to roll into this next week. What do we have on the calendar? I think we got a bunch of meetings. I think we got to shoot with Max. We got maybe 3 or 4 52 coffees. And yeah, a couple projects that we got to edit. We got a new big deal that came in. I think this one was high 5 figures or so. It's looking international as well. So let's see how it unfolds. And yeah, probably going to reshape some packages and spend the next, I don't know how long, learning about SEO, because I think it might be time to revamp my website. I met Notary Pro and the Influence Agency, and they're all getting their deals from SEO, and they make 30, 50, 75x what I just made in my record year. So I think they might be onto something with the SEO, and success leaves clues. So if you know someone that's doing a little bit better than you, it's likely that they're doing something different. So yeah, time to ask and time to explore. So once again, this is Papr Chasrs Weekly. I hope you enjoyed meeting the new people. I hope you enjoyed the stories of the week, and I will see you next week. Once again, I'm Javon.ca, and we are building this video production agency called Papr Mache together. Peace.